Welcome back to the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses. This week's Athlete of the Week is volleyball freshman Kaulana Ane. The Hawaii native has led the team in digs over the past 2 weeks, averaging 3.4% to total 34. She also recorded 8 kills, 13 assists, 2 service aces, and 6 blocks as the Chargers went 2-1 in that span. On the season, Ane has totaled 105 kills, 164 assists, and ranks third on the team with 233 digs and 48 blocks. Our Week 12 Athlete of the Week, freshman setter from Paia, Hawaii, Kaulana Ane. This week, I caught up with Kaulana to discuss the Chargers' season and her outstanding accomplishments to date. I'm now joined by freshman Kaulana Ane. So, Kaulana, earlier this year, your team lost the first 4 games of the season and then won 17 games in a row. Why do you think the season played out like that?
For me, I think that going to our preseason almost made us start over from scratch and kind of humble us a little bit. I think that it was a good learning experience for all of us, especially for me as a freshman. I got to see some playing time, and I got to watch and saw some good competition, so it helped me kind of benchmark and know where I am as a freshman and come back to the drawing board and really work hard. And then as a team, we had so many goals that we went into. Kind of missed it a little bit, but I think that when we came back, it made us push even harder for it. So, yeah.
Well, you were originally recruited as a setter, but you've spent the majority of the season playing on the outside. What has that transition been like?
Well, when Coach first asked me to come here, she asked me to be a setter, and I was like, I'm going to be the best setter she can ever have as a recruit. So that was my mindset. And then when I got here, I was like, all right, I really got to work. I really got to show her what I got. And what she really needed was someone to fill in a position. And then I kind of had to reevaluate what I wanted to do in order to put my team in the best position. It wasn't just about me. It was about how to better the team. So I thought that if I stepped up my game and maybe I took in extra time and practice, or I went before early, then that's what I had to do in order to provide for my team and be the person to step up for that spot.
Well, you've actually had the privilege of watching 3-time Conference Setter of the Year Chelsea Alpo all season.
Yeah.
How has she really helped you? And talk a little bit about the seniors and how they've helped you through your freshman season.
Well, Chelsea is actually my mentor. So she's always been kind of that person to really push me. She knows what I can do, and she's watched me play, and she's always there for me, and she's always like, you know what, you got it, next ball, I know you can do it, giving me advice, everything. I'm really happy that I got this year to not be under her, but get to play with her.
Well, you're originally from Hawaii. What has been the hardest adjustment to living on the East Coast?
The weather, and having to kind of switch time zones. I'm 6 hours, 5 hours behind. So coming here, I had to really go sleep early, get up early, and just I think it's all the different cultures. I've never been kind of exposed to everyone's cultures. We have so much diversity on our team that it's really good for me that I get to know everyone else's different cultures. So I like it a lot.
Well, I've heard that Hawaiian names actually have a meaning behind each of them. What does Kaulana Ane mean?
Well, my whole name is Kaulana, and it means precious flower. It was given to me by my great-grandmother because of my birthday, and also because I'm the only girl in my family, so it's I'm the precious one, I guess. So, yeah.
Last week, your team fell in the quarterfinal of the Northeast 10 Conference Tournament to UMass Lowell. What did you guys really struggle with in that game?
Well, for me personally, I thought that I could have communicated more effectively with my team. I thought that by not doing my part as a hitter/setter kind of added on to my team's loss. As a team, I felt like it was more so we just kind of went our separate ways, and it's a team sport. So I think that loss really helped us pull together and realize, we're playing a team sport. We need to be a team and not individuals. Yes, there's different stats for different people, but I feel like this past week our coach has really been pushing us and really trying to get together as a team. And I feel like going into this game, you're going to see a lot more team.
Well, Thursday you play Pace in the first round of the NCAA tournament. What do you expect that game to be like?
I honestly expect it to be I don't want to say dog fight, I want to say cat fight, because girls have nails, they know how to use it. So, I mean, everyone is just gunning for it for anything. I mean, Adelphi Stonehill, that was an upset. Ours was an upset. So I'm expecting pace to not be looked over and to just go into it really hard because I'm excited for some good volleyball.
Well, Kalana, thanks so much for your time and good luck this week.
Thank you.
After this break, we'll be joined by Chargers head football coach Pete Rasamando. This is the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses. And now we're joined by Chargers head football coach Pete Rasamando. Coach, how's it going?
It's going great. Glad to be here.
Well, Coach, when we spoke before Saturday's game, you talked about how you expected it to be 4 quarters of very tough football against St. Anselm. What allowed your team to pull away and put away such a big margin in the second half of that game?
Our kids just played very focused and very fast, and were able to run around and just made a ton of plays. And you know, they were ready for this game, unlike last year where I think they maybe took St. Anselm a little bit for granted and, you know, didn't realize how good they were and how well coached they were. So this was a great test for us. You know, just when one of those games you're supposed to win, you go out and you do it the way you're supposed to.
Well, Ryan Oshesky finished this game 21 of 30 for 391 yards. He threw for 5 touchdowns, ran for another. He had one pass that was intercepted, though it was off a tip ball. Talk about Ryan's performance these last 2 weeks of the season.
Played great. You know, the one interception was probably more of a coaching error than it was a Ryan error. I mean, he shouldn't have thrown the ball, but we didn't give him that look during the week. And, you know, they came out. We knew there was a chance they would do it, and they did. And, you know, Ryan just let the ball go and probably shouldn't have. But played tremendous, just played really within himself and, you know, understood the concepts of what we were trying to do, didn't force the ball at all. And, you know, you had guys like Jason Thompson and Chris Ruffin, you know, just Camille Ashley just getting open. So made it really easy for him.
Yeah, I think if not for the 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts, Ryan could have thrown for well over 500 yards in this game.
Yeah, he missed Jay on a deep pass third quarter, wide open. You know, just missed him because of the wind actually. He had the wind at his back. It actually took the ball away from him. Whereas normally he drills that thing right in there, but the wind just took it from him.
Well, we actually see a great example in this first highlight clip of Ryan drilling it right in there on a deep throw to Jason Thompson.
Yeah, this was actually the first play of the second half, and you know, we had saw something in the end of the quarter where they were playing that corner down tight to Jason's side, and safety was low, and we just knew they couldn't guard Jason. He just run a deep post, and you know, Ryan knew that once he got even, he was gone. There's Jay separating. It was, you know, tremendous throw, great pass protection right here from our offensive line. Now that's always a start, and it gives us the ability to be able to go deep because those routes do take a little bit of time sometimes to develop.
Well, sure they do. On this play, they bring both outside linebackers to rush 4.
Yeah, Mike DeCaro does a terrific job of picking one up off that side. So Mike's not just a fast runner, but he's a good blocker as well.
Well, this week the defensive game plan had a lot of blitzing in it, a lot of man coverage involved in it. You know, how do you feel like your defense executed that game plan this week?
I thought they played well. You know, I thought you know, Rob Hill was a big factor in the game, as well as Raheem Stanley. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Tom Hurd again played one of his you know, just solid performances. Went out there, played with tremendous amount of emotion, and you know, our secondary didn't let things get behind them like they did a couple years ago. So it was good to see.
Yeah, Rob Hill just seemed to make a ton of plays in this game. What was his matchup like, and why was he so effective?
You know, Rob's just speed. You know, he's going to be pure speed, and then when he gets to the point of contact, he's a pretty powerful guy. He's strong and understands how to use his leverage to his advantage. So it's just one of those dominating games. You know, he just went out there and played fast.
Well, noticed in the second half how hard it was for St. Anselm to really move the ball effectively. What was the halftime adjustment that led to St. Anselm turning the ball over 4 times in that second half?
Well, nothing really. I mean, there was a couple plays that they hit in the first half. They hit a couple screens, and you know, I just said to our guys, you know, that's the ultimate compliment to a defense when an offense is throwing screens and running draws and getting rid of the ball fast. That means they feel like they can't block you, so you just got to go out and make tackles and force them to drive the field, and you know, it's inevitable that those things will, you know, mistakes will happen.
Over the last few weeks, we've seen your offense utilize the tight end a little bit more than we did early in the season. Talk about your tight end play, Camille Lashley, Jake Stark, and Chris Higgins over the last couple of weeks.
They're playing great. They're blocking really well, which is allowing us to keep them on the field. When they're not blocking, you're not running the ball effectively. You got to get them off and get speed on the field. So it was, they've been blocking really well, and we keep them on the field in the pass game. Camille's a tremendous pass receiver, and he's extremely fast for his size. And the other guys are just really powerful guys. And it's good when they can block, because then we can get them down the field in the pass game.
Yeah, we see a great example of Camille just getting a free release off the line of scrimmage and running really well for a guy his size in the second highlight clip.
Yeah, he's 255 pounds, and, this is a little play-action pass. We knew we'd get the corner out with the leverage, and the safety was running down as Camille's running by, and, just an easy completion for Ryan, a big window, and Camille breaks a couple tackles there and is able to get in the end zone.
At the end of this clip, we're really going to see Camille just carry a guy for like 15 yards.
Yeah,
really impressive.
He just plays with tremendous amount of confidence, and he's obviously 255 pounds to move like that is pretty good. And he does a great job protecting the football there, so he doesn't turn it over.
Gosh, just really impressed with the way Camille's come on the last couple of weeks, and he had a big drop against William and Mary. I mean, did that really affect how you guys thought about him and how much you trusted him?
No, never. We love him, and he's one of our guys, and he'll always will be. Just had a bad day. Sometimes that happens to all of us, and we just kept saying, hey, it's going to be your time at some point. Over 100 yards receiving this week, 2 touchdowns, so it was great to see.
Well, when we spoke at the beginning of the season, you talked about how you wanted to be the #1 team running the football and the #1 team against the run in the conference. While the statistics at the end of the year don't really spell that out, it seems like you didn't complete that goal. How do you feel about those two elements and the way you've been able to execute them this season?
Well, I think our game plan changed a little bit when we lost Victor. He's more of a power runner, gives you more of a different element than Mike does. Mike gives us great hands out of backfield, tremendous speed on linebackers. So it allowed us to open up the passing game a little bit more. So I think we just took advantage of the personnel that we had there. And, defensively, sometimes it's tough when we're scoring at that rate and scoring so fast, puts our defense right back on the field. Sometimes it's just hard to, get teams off in 3 plays when you just keep going back out and going back out.
Yeah, I mean, with the loss of Victor Jones, you weren't able to run the ball conventionally for the entire year. And, I think it actually allowed Ronnie Nelson more opportunities running that read option because, without a guy that you could really depend on to grind out tough yards like Victor Jones, you sort of had to change your strategy a little bit and use Ronnie Nelson more. Yeah,
Ronnie was great Saturday. He had 107 yards rushing, and he really opens up our offense, because he can throw too. I mean, he's an accomplished quarterback. He's just happens to have tremendous wheels, and we're able to use that out on the field, and at times put him and Ryan on the field at the same time, which really gives a defense fit. So he's just been Ronnie's had a great year, and we really need him on this playoff run here.
Well, sure, and we see one of the great things that Ronnie brings to your offense with that read option, how strong he is, again, in this third highlight clip.
Yeah, this was a tremendous play almost off of that play action that you saw before. The line does a great job opening up a hole, and Ronnie, we had talked about this during the week on where to get to once you break the second level. At that point, then you can break to the outside, and you can see him sort of sense the inside closing, bounce to the outside. Some great blocking by Anthony Tillman and Josh Smart, and we thought he scored there, but apparently they say he stepped out.
Well, what was really great about that play is how there were actually two players up the field unblocked, ready to go after Ronnie, but they stood in and they watched Josh Smart coming across the play. It just opened up a really big hole for Ronnie.
Yeah, it's one of those read plays. When you don't block him, you read him, and they took Josh, and Ronnie kept the ball.
On Sunday, your team was selected #2 in the regional playoffs after being ranked #1 for the first 3 weeks of that poll. I mean, what was your reaction to getting jumped by Winston-Salem State?
Well, there's a criteria they use, and the same criteria that put us in front of Bloomsburg in the first poll, where I really didn't think we should have been one. It jumped them above us. So, if it's going to help us, it's going to hurt us sometimes too. And we can't control what other teams do, and unfortunately, that's what the strength of schedule is based on, is the teams you beat, winning games. And Westchester lost a couple down the stretch, and St. Augustine lost a couple down the stretch, so it hurt our strength of schedule. But, to be in a bye situation and have the opportunity to get some guys healthy this week is still a tremendous advantage, whether you're 1 or 2. I mean, you'd rather be 1, but 2 is a great place to be.
From an injury perspective, who's really going to benefit from this week off?
Oh, Jason Thompson, definitely. He's been playing with a hip flexor injury last 4 weeks, and even though he's only playing at about 3/4 speed right now, which is scary to think about. So we're going to give him some rest this week. Mike DeCaro, just banged up from playing 11 weeks, and really Mike's been a tremendous special teams player for us as well. So gives Mike the opportunity to heal up, and our offensive linemen who've been pounding for 11 weeks. This is a great time for them to get some rest.
Well, your team will play the winner of Kutztown and Concord. What are those 2 teams like, and where do they match up with you guys?
Don't really know much about Concord. They're in the West Virginia Conference. I know they beat some good teams. They beat Shepherd. They beat West Virginia Wesleyan that last game of the season. And we've seen West Virginia Wesleyan on film this year. And they're a good team. They play really good defense from what the stats say. And they're going to be tough. Kutztown is very explosive. They have a UConn transfer running back as well, 1,000-yard rusher. And the tremendous quarterback who's a Harlan Hill finalist. So, we just either one's going to be a tough test for us. So we'll study them this week, both teams, and we'll see if we can get a beat on possibly some similarities, so we can work on some things throughout the week.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the bye week.
Thanks.
For more, be sure to tune to NewHavenChargers.com, or for a completely student perspective, tune to charliescavalry.wordpress.com.